G'day, it's Joel Rasmussen for Southern Cross Combat, and ahead of his fight on Eternal 89, I'm talking to the Razor. I'm talking to your co-main event. I'm talking to Mr. Raymart Quintana. Raymart, thank you very much for the time. How are we today?
I'm very, very well. Yeah, Joel got me up early in the morning, so not happy about that, but we gotta keep on keeping on.
I'm sorry, you've got training, and I wanted to make sure I got a chance to talk to you. How are you doing this morning, and how was your Friday night?
Friday night was all right, just normal, just training at night, and then came to came home, and that's it. Rested my body, recovered. I got the vlogging camera, the DJI Osmo 3, so unpacked that, and we're gonna play around with it today. So excited.
I wanted to talk about the vlogging camera. I was gonna talk about it a bit later, but so are we doing the vlogging thing? Will there be some content coming soon?
Yeah, there will be. I'm a very big coffee snob. Like I'm a coffee connoisseur, so I want to actually go to different coffee shops and kind of rate the cafes, and I want to show because Australia is the coffee capital of the world, or I believe so. Like we have the best coffee, dominantly in Sydney and Melbourne, and I'm from Sydney. My partner Emily is from Melbourne, so I'm always back and forth. All I do is go to coffee shops. So I want to. My thing, my hobby is to search up like the best coffee shops and go there and try the coffee. Like, and I may as well document that, right?
So will this be on like a YouTube? Will this be on the socials?
Uh, I don't know. Like everyone says, do short form content first, and I don't like. I don't really care to be honest. Like I'm just enjoying making it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe YouTube, maybe Instagram first. I don't know, but
That's
as long
that,
as I do it.
that's fair. Does a YouTube channel exist at the moment?
Yeah, and I made one vlog, but I didn't share it because I was a bit shy. So,
Well, either way, that YouTube channel will be linked at the top of the description in this video.
thanks.
Um, of course. I wanted to bring up the coffee actually, because just before we started, you took a sip. You're not drinking coffee this morning. What are you drinking this morning, and why aren't we having a coffee?
That's a coffee. That's an ice long black.
Oh, okay, never mind. It is coffee.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
actually took me like 20 minutes to make it before the meeting because, like, every time I buy new beans, I have to adjust because new beans, like when you have a, uh, every time you put new beans into a grinder, you have to adjust it. You have to adjust the temperature of the water, the weight ratio, and how it comes, and yeah, it takes a bit of time to dial it in properly.
Bro's in the chemistry lab in his kitchen.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna do something, I can only have black coffee. You may as well do it right, right? I'm not allowed to put sugar and shit in my coffee, so
Ever, or just because we're in a camp?
uh, just because we're in a camp, but in general, like you're not a coffee connoisseur if you can't drink black coffee, you know. So gotta stick to my roots.
Damn, there's some fighting words there.
Yeah.
Gotta get a coffee discourse in the comment section.
I represent all barista nerds out there, you know, all the coffee shop baristas. I'm the representative athlete.
Were you ever barista?
Yeah, I had my own coffee shop.
Damn, how long ago?
I'd say for probably 6 years ago. I started with my brother and a mate. We opened up a coffee van when I was 18. So we bought a coffee van. We had no idea what we were doing in business. We just saved up a bunch of money and we're like, fuck, let's buy this coffee van because we're street kids, you know. We don't know how to we don't know how to work. We didn't really study, so yeah, we just got a coffee van and then ran that for like a year, and then eventually ran it to the ground, and then we opened up a cafe, me and my mate, and yeah, it was good fun. But that's how I started.
So evidently running a coffee van, that seemed difficult. Now let's get like a solid location.
Yeah, nah, you know what? Like I say run to the ground, but we actually did very well with the coffee van. Like we learned a lot about business, and it was me, my brother, and my friend. So we literally, and it was a three-seater coffee van. So like it was just us hanging out, going to businesses, knocking, hey, do you guys want coffee? And we got a lot of we got a contract with the council, so they gave us really good jobs. Like it was actually really good, to be honest. I can't lie. Like we had a lot of fun, but yeah, eventually we just got over it, and it was a lot of labor.
Was the storefront, was the shop successful like the van was?
No, not as successful. Like that was a different ball game. Like first of all, we didn't really have parking. Like we kind of we co-rented a space like a warehouse. My friend had a barber, and he had like a whole area in the warehouse that wasn't being used. So like we just came in and we chatted, and yeah, it was like, look, we're big into coffee. Can we start a cafe here? And then we did the whole thing. We fitted it out, and then like it was a proper like coffee nerd space. Like my machine was $30,000 alone. The coffee machine. We had all the best coffee equipment, and then yeah, I learned a serious lesson that no one really gives a fuck about coffee back there. And if you can't really get parking, then like how can people come in, you know? And I wasn't really good at marketing back then, so I didn't know how to bring people into the space. Yeah, it was a good lesson learned, and eventually we closed it down.
When so you start the coffee van as a essentially as a kid with your friends, and that, and while that is successful, uh how does one go from the somewhat security of owning a business and being a business owner to the wild west of professional mixed martial arts?
Well, I did it to support my fighting. Like I was always a hard worker. I've had so many jobs. I've had like two, three jobs at one time while fighting, just to support like everything. And uh, yeah, it was all like my fight. One of my biggest fights in Hex actually was the same. The day before that fight, sorry, the day after that fight, I had to fly back from Melbourne to Sydney to launch the cafe. Like it was and that whole flight camp, I was setting it everything up. I handmade all the furniture. Yeah.
How? What does that mean?
I was a second year apprentice in carpentry. Like um and I learned how to work with wood, and I really enjoyed working with wood. Like I was very crafty, you know. But yeah, we wanted a Japanese style cafe. I can show you photos that you can plug them in,
Oh,
just so you know
please.
just so you know I'm not lying.
No, I mean, when you said you built the furniture, I was like, we talking IKEA? But no.
No. We literally there's a background blur. I still have one of the pieces here. Uh how can I remove the blur so I can show you like just one of the pieces?
I'm not sure.
See that piece there?
Yeah.
That was one of our seats. And
Okay.
like yeah, I cut that. It's all like Japanese inspired. It's a bit old now, but solid. Um yeah, we made this, we lacquered it and everything. I did that like all during my fight camp at late in the hours of night. So
Why? You're meant to be focusing on fighting.
I think I got ADHD or something. Like I can't keep still. Even now, like I can't if like fighting is you fight like you train in the morning, train at night, but if you don't have a job during in the middle or something, like what are you gonna do? Think about fighting all day? Like doesn't doesn't it's yeah, it's good to have a bit of both balance.
Do you do anything now with your time in the middle of the days?
Yeah, so I have a virtual assistant outsourcing company now in the Philippines. So I help Filipinos find remote jobs over in Australia for business owners here, and it's really fun. That's why I was over in the Philippines actually, and uh, Yeah, it's what I do now. It's a bit different, but it's what I do outside of fighting.
A man of many hats. I wanted to ask about the travel. You said it there, you were in the Philippines. I wasn't sure where you were. How was traveling? Did you get a chance to train at all? How was it?
Well, you know like Team Lakai in 1FC, yeah? Like all Edward Folayang and Joshua Pashao, Danny Kingad, Stephen Lohman. It just happened that my office in the Philippines is literally in the same area as their gym. They're called Lions Nation now, so Edward Falang started his own like little, not little, sorry, his own crew, and he brought all the main fighters over, and yeah, I was like, you know what, like I need to go see my team. There's about 30 of us now, 30 of us in the Philippines, a team of 30, and I was like, I may as well like see them and then get a training camp over with those boys if I can. So yeah, it really worked out well. It was like the perfect combination, and I get along with all those boys. It was the first time I met them. They didn't really know me at the beginning, but once we got training, like they were like, "Oh, this guy's legit," you know. And it was really good to have that dynamic.
You talked about there. You start training with them, and there is that moment where oh he's legit. When you're training with guys who, and obviously when you're back home with ATT, you're getting high level training. But
Yeah,
you go and you train with guys who are on the world stage. Is the skill gap that big?
nah, man, not at all. Like they're good. They're very good. Don't get me wrong, but like I yeah, we're all the same. Like there's no difference. It was literally like I was on their level, and yeah, I think they respected that as well. There's literally no skill. There's no skill gap whatsoever.
What kind of like confidence does that give you? Because of course you may feel that way, but you don't know until you know.
It's strange because I used to watch them back in the day. Even Edward Folayang, I always watch him fight. And Stephen Lohman, yeah, I watched these guys fight and I'm like, fuck, man, like they're crazy. Like they're absolute machines. Like imagine kicking that hard, blah, blah, blah. And then when I sparred them, I'm like, damn, like it's not even like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just as good. Like they were struggling with me. I was struggling a little bit with them, but like there's nothing, no, there was no, I thought I was gonna get bashed. But yeah, I held my own. Like, if not, sometimes did better, sometimes did worse, you know. But like, it was really strange. It was a realization for me, and I was like I'm at the same level as these guys, and I think that was very important actually for me because I used to watch them as a kid all the time and see their power. And I think the difference is they're so powerful and so like I think the background is like wushu, where it's like in explosive, out explosive, whereas mine's a little bit more technical. So like at the beginning they didn't know how to combat my striking, but then after a couple of days they figured it out and then it was a little bit harder for me. So it was good. Stephen Lohman gave me one of the harder rounds. Like it was really good.
What is that like for you? Because we talked like at the press conference for your last fight where you were fighting Blood Diamond.
Yeah.
What is it like for you where you're fighting people that you've seen in the highest levels? Now you're training with people that you've seen in the highest levels. Is that weird?
No, not at all. Like I trust in my ability to be not even just to be a likable person, but to be a like someone that people respect because I'm not rude. I'm always respectful to everyone, and I feel like if I can go into a gym, I can go into any gym and get along with everyone just because of the my nature, the way I am. Like I'm not arrogant. Like I'll learn from a white belt. I don't really care. Like it's just the way I am. So it's not weird going in and uh like training with these guys. I always feel like I always felt like I could go into even like if I was to go to Japan and train with Lyoto Machida, like I always knew I could because I would go in there and they would like allow me to come in just because of how I am. So like as a kid, I knew I was always gonna eventually be training with these guys. So it's not really weird. It's more of a like, oh wow, it happened. You know?
Uh, talking about opponents. Before we talk about the upcoming opponent, I'd like to talk about the previous, not the previous opponent, but the opponent you were meant to be fighting, Chris Fishgold.
Yeah.
Um, how are you feeling, first of all, about the opponent switch? How did you find out? What was your kind of initial reaction when you heard that Chris was out?
I was originally matched with Wes Kappa. So I was keen for that fight. Like he's I don't know, 5-2 or something. And he's a very good striker. Like he's coming out of he's still in his prime, but coming out of it towards the end of it. So still would have been a really good matchup and a really good exciting fight. And I think he's from Perth, so it would have been in his home crowd, and we all know what happens when I fight people in their home crowd. So I was excited, and when he pulled out, I don't even know why they matched me with Fish Gold, and then I was like, oh wait, all right, like this isn't. He's 32. He's in his prime. I don't know why he's got like a losing streak, but maybe he lost focus. But in his Instagrams and stuff, it says like he's like zoned in again, and so I was ready for that fight. He had a really good record, and then now he pulled out, and I was like, oh shit, like am I even fighting? Like, and then yeah, the Japanese guy Daichi stepped in, and I don't know, like I don't really know how I feel about it anymore. It's like fuck, it's three times now, like it's how many I've lost focus on different opponents three times. Like it's three different, complete different fighters. Like so I was like, oh whatever, like it is what it is. I'm just gonna fight, like whatever. Like I don't really care anymore.
Are you a guy who plans specifically for the opponent? So, as you kind of said there, when there's three switches, are you like, ah, shit?
I don't really care, man. Like you can ask my coach soon. Like he'll go, hey, something happened, you're fighting this guy. I'm like, all right, cool. Like whatever. Like he's responsible for coming up with the game plan and uh analyzing the opponents. Like we couldn't find footage of this Japanese guy anywhere. And like Suman, he's like a nerd, man. He's like a full-on MMA fanatic, and like he won't go to sleep at night. He'll translate these Japanese writings to find footage, and he found a whole bunch of footage on him. And yeah, it was I forgot the question. Sorry, what was it?
Just is it like difficult with the opponent switches? Does it change much for
Oh,
you?
the game. Yeah, yeah. So where I was going is like, uh, he he analyzes it and then yes, we do change the game plan a little bit. Like with Fish Gold, it was gonna be uh to just battle it out and then wait till he gasses and then catch him with a right hand. And this guy is gonna be a lot of I think he's gonna shoot a lot. Like he's gonna be relentless with the shot. He's gonna try to take me down. Look, Joel, no one is gonna want to strike with me. I've never lost a striking battle. And I thought Blood Diamond was gonna give me my hardest test in striking, and unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. So for him,
You use that phrase there, and you kind of clarified it by saying "unfortunate for him." Is does do your fight with Blood Diamond for you? Is that the perfect day at the office, or would you prefer to get into like a back and forth war where you're slugging it out?
well, look, I thought it was gonna be a 3 round like war, and if you saw his fights in the UFC, people were scared of his striking. Like his striking is so Gumby, but it's almost like a drunken master style Gumby, like it'll catch you. And a lot of people is like talking smack or backlashing him, but they didn't even give him a chance to shine, you know? Like everyone just shot. I know it's MMA, but they just shot on him, like humped him, waited until he gassed out a little bit, and then obviously it's a little bit harder for him to show his what he does. So I was like, you know what? Like we're in Auckland. Let's give these guys a striking battle. If I'm getting bashed, then maybe I'll shoot, but I'm sure I can hold myself. But look, I didn't shoot once, and I don't even think I got really hit, to be honest. But yeah, it surprised me a lot. It was like shit. Like maybe I'm a little bit better than I thought I was.
With this, well, actually, no. Talking about the uh, maybe I'm a little bit better than I thought I was. There was, it wasn't your first fight back, but it was a fight coming off some time away,
Yeah.
not at your typical weight class. Were those doubts kind of coming in?
Yeah, of course. Like I thought he was gonna be. He was like actually the heavier guy. He looked the same size as me in weigh-in day, but then in the cage, man, this guy was huge. Like I was like, what the hell? This guy doubled his size. And I stayed the same because I was just walking around that weight. But like I don't know. It was scary. Like, and I knew it was gonna be a tough. Oh, I thought it was going to be a tough, grueling like fight to like the whole striking and running a fuck. Like I would go to bed thinking about it. I'm like, oh, it's going to be so ugly. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it was yeah. I don't I don't know how to explain what I thought about the fight and then how it ended up happening. It was really weird. It was like, oh, what the hell?
Was there maybe a sense of maybe disappointment that it wasn't that crazy back and forth?
Uh, Not really. I take whatever comes, you know. Like I- I've been putting people in submissions, and I'm not even a submission guy. So obviously KOs is what everyone wants to see. But I wasn't disappointed at all. Like I was actually impressed with myself and very happy. But uh, it would have been actually cool to have some more footage. That's all I'm gonna say.
Um, you talked about being impressed with yourself. Into that matchup, did you feel underestimated by other people, the scene? And do you think you said you were impressed with yourself? Do you think you impressed people?
I don't know. I don't even think anyone knows who I am yet in Australian MMA, in Australian MMA, to be honest. Like even against Blood Diamond, like all the hype was around him. Uh, I don't know. Like I feel like no one really acknowledges me as a Australian MMA fighter yet. But at the same time, I don't really care. You know, you'll find out anyway eventually. Uh, what? Sorry, what was the question again?
Just asking if you felt underestimated in that fight, or just how your kind of place in it in the Australian MMA scene.
Oh, yeah. Like to be honest, I knew everyone. Yeah, like what I was saying. Like, it just feels like no one. No, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I just feel like no one really knows that I'm a fighter in Australian MMA yet. But it was. It's when I just keep racking up these KOs, they'll know eventually. You know.
They'll find out soon.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? You're an MMA journalist in Australia. No one really talks about me, right?
I agree. I think you're underrated. I think a big part of that is the time away,
Yeah.
especially with the increased focus. Like, as in, like, I feel like during that time away, more people joined the media side.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think what is it? It's 7 wins, six first round stoppages.
Yeah.
I think that speaks for itself. And I
Yeah.
think the more people figure that out and the more people go, wait a minute, what's this guy's record again?
And the thing, Joel, is like the you got to analyze the opponents that I've fought because on paper, the opponents that I fought, their records aren't the best in MMA, but the caliber of the fighter is a whole different story. Like the guy that I fought, Costa Masmenides, he was a like I think world champion or Australian champ, like some very, very high level kickboxer. Yeah. I took him out with one punch. First punch I threw. I'm pretty sure that's a 7 second KO is a record in Australia for the fastest KO. You know, like it went viral for like one second, but no one talked about it after that. I'm like, they didn't really give him the like that was weird. Like it was cool, and then bang next. But I don't mind. Yeah, I don't know. Like even Stephen Maxwell, he was a very, very good kickboxer and a lot of sorry, boxer. And he fought a lot of like tough guys and went distances with them and everything. And like I KO'd him in 1 or 2 minutes. Then Danny Hopper, he was like a Australian amateur champ. I actually wanted to fight him when I was younger, and Suman said, "No, no, you'll get beat really bad." He goes, "You're not at that level yet." Then I think my second or third pro fight, I fought him and I took him out in 1 minute. Yeah, I don't know. Like the record doesn't on paper doesn't speak for itself, but a lot of my opponents were very, very tough fighters. Even Togo, like Paul Franchi. He was when I fought him as an amateur, he was 4-0 as a pro, and I don't even know how he was able to fight as an amateur again. But it doesn't show that on paper, so it's kind of annoying. But whatever.
People will find out soon.
Yeah, I guess so.
Um, Talking about so you're going from a victory over Blood Diamond, of course, people know him from the UFC, and then you were booked against Chris, who is also a former UFC guy. When you're fighting a guy who's coming back from the UFC or has been in the UFC, does it make the stakes higher?
Uh, y- yeah. For me, uh, well, I wanted to that the reason why I wanted to fight, I took the fight with Fish Gold straight away was because uh, it wasn't even just UFC. Before that, he was Cage Warrior champion, everything. Uh, and then now he was a UFC fighter, and then bare knuckle fighter. Like it would have been cool to take someone like that out. And I'm still gonna call him out, you know. Like you can't run from me. Like you agreed to fight, you know. Like you got a sore foot, but eventually we're gonna cross paths, you know, especially if you want to come to Australia. So that having that on my record, I would have been very proud with that. But I don't know. We'll just see what happens with Daichi first, and then we'll go on to the second.
You kind of did touch on that there, but is it now? Is there any disappointment that you're not fighting a guy who kind of comes in with that hype? As you said, it's hard to find footage of the guy you're now fighting.
Yeah. The hype on Fish Gold.
Yes.
Uh, uh, no, I don't really care, man. Like, it is what it is. Like, uh, you put someone in front of me, I'll fight him. Like, well, it's not really a job, but it's what I signed up to do. We'll just see what happens. Like, I don't really care.
You said there it's not really a job. What is fighting to you?
It's a way for me to test my mind. Uh, like, I don't really get paid much from it. I get paid work through my business, but I constantly love that I get to test my mind, test my capabilities, test my physical, test my mental as well. You know, like you don't get that anywhere else. And uh, being able to be uncomfortable every single day is something special, and it does something to a human, you know, when when they're constantly in the state of being uncomfortable, you grow as a person. And business doesn't really do that for me. So uh, Yeah, that's why I fight. It's not my job. It's like a profession almost, like a uh it's just a part of me. I've been fighting my whole life. So yeah. That 5 year gap made me realize that actually I don't fight to fight. I fight because I actually love it. I love training. I love hanging around with the boys at the gym, and that's why I do it. If I make the UFC from that, then fuck, that's a bonus, you know.
Were you training in that 5 year gap?
Nah. I was working, like I was fat, honestly. I was really fat. I'll send you some photos of what I used to look like, but you will see that and be like, whoa. I was touching 100 kgs, like probably a little bit more. And I was a 66 kilo fighter.
What made you come back?
Uh I feel like that 5 year gap I had like an identity crisis, like am I a fighter? Because it started with me getting injured, right? And then yeah, I had a bit of an identity crisis, like oh, shit, what am I like? And then I got a serious job, not a serious job, but got a job as a real estate agent, and yeah, worked my way from there and started figuring out who I was, and oh, all right, well, am I just supposed to work and then whatever, and then yeah, I just realized like I I went to this seminar where it was big on core values, and then I realized what my core values were, and then fighting is actually a lot of my core values, you know. So like, I actually enjoyed fighting, so I came back, and you know what, fuck it, let's go.
What was it like to return to the gym where, these are guys that I don't know what your connection was like with them, but you've been out of the room for 5 years. When you come back, like what do they say? What do they think?
I was 100 kilos, but I was still moving around like I was a lightweight, you know? And I feel like I got muscle memory where every like a lot of fighting is reaction and like being able to catch a kick and whatever, like being able to defend. Like a lot of uh, a lot of that doesn't really go away. So it maybe after the second session I picked it all up again. The rest was getting my fitness up and my weight down and my body strong again. So it was fine. Like I was standing toe to toe with everyone from the second session coming back. It was actually like I remember Farhood Kalatba like going, man, he's still good. Like it was actually on camera. He was like, what the f like how the f that doesn't make sense. I actually have a story. Like when I was a kid, I took I was doing karate for like 8 years, but I did it for like 4 years as a kid, and then I took 2 years off. Like, didn't do anything. I just didn't feel like doing karate again. Then I felt like doing it again 2 years later. And my coach, like, sat me down after the first lesson, and he goes, "Hey, like, I just want to like be honest. Like, where have you guys been training?" And then I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And he goes, "Where have you been training? Like, don't lie to us. Like, we know you've been training somewhere." I was like, "What?" And he's like you don't become that good, like if you've had 2 years. Like, tell us. I'm like, bro, I haven't been, sensei, I haven't been training anywhere. Like, I literally didn't do anything for 2 years, and he's like, he's probably still thinks I'm lying till this day. But I don't know. I pick things up like this very very fast. So it's just in me as to be a fighter. I don't know.
You mentioned earlier when you were talking about your opponents. I can't remember which one it was, but you talked about asking Suman to fight him, and he said no. Who were you talking about?
That was Danny Hopper.
So to look talking about the journey and talking about time away and talking about like from the perspective of progression, when you look at that 5 years and you can come back and you still have it. When you look at that 2 years away from karate and you come back and you still have it. When you look at talking to Suman and saying, I want to fight this guy, and Suman goes, you're going to get the floor wiped with you. and then you go out there and you beat him convincingly. What is that like for you?
I don't know. That's why I fight because it's a constant battle of fuck, can I do this? And then overcoming it and going, wow, like that felt good. Well, we can celebrate and then go through this again. I always feel like it's like yeah, back in the olden days, you have your little town and then there's people like sailing to you. Like they're eventually gonna come and you're gonna have to protect your town. And once you wipe these guys out, everyone's safe and sound, like for a little bit, and then until these guys, more people figure it out and go, all right, let's try again. I get that feeling, and it's just, yeah, it feels good. It feels good being scared, being nervous, and being uncomfortable, and then overcoming it, and then going again. But I've throughout that 5 years, man, I lived comfortably. Like I ate whatever I wanted, did whatever I wanted, and I realized that's the worst way to live. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how you have to be.
How long between fights, how long does that feeling of like, yay, we did it last? How long is it like, okay, cool, until you start going, I should probably book another fight?
Well, look, it lasts probably like 2 weeks, but I don't go too high anymore. Like I don't go too low. I just stay in the middle baseline. Um, Even if I lose, like I don't, whatever, man. Like it is what it is. They took my town. I'll just go chill somewhere else. But I think it's yeah. It doesn't last too long anymore. Like 2 weeks and then we're chilling again. But there's always that there's always that uncomfortable feeling of like, oh, who am I gonna fight next and whatnot. But yeah, it lasts for like 2 weeks to answer your question.
You mentioned about this is kind of the return to lightweight. You know, the last fight was at welterweight. You came in at your walk around weight. How is it to be back at lightweight? And are you like, ah, damn, I have to cut weight again?
Look, like something's happened throughout the fight camp with a really bad injury. So I couldn't actually without going into detail like cut some of the weight. Uh like to give you a visualization about it, I tore something directly from my bone, so I have no movement in it anymore. And I could have pulled out if I wanted, but uh instead we asked uh our opponent's team and management if we can just meet at a catch weight just to because I'm probably not going to make the way. I can't do most activities anymore. But I feel like it happened like a week ago, and I was like, I feel like in 2 weeks I'll have movement back and I'll still be able to fight, so I can cut the weight in the sauna. But like that's what happens, I still want to fight, but might not make lightweight anymore because I can't really move too much. So it's an agreement. No, I don't pull out. And they respectfully agreed. They're like, yeah, yeah, no worries, let's do it. Like we still want to fight as well, and I appreciate them for that. Appreciate Eternal as well. But yeah, after this fight, I'm gonna depending if I need surgery to attach it back on, whatnot. Uh, we'll get everything sorted, and I'll walk around. Yeah, I'll fight at lightweight again, maybe even further weight because I'm walking around a bit lower.
What will this fight then be at? What is the weight?
74.
Is that an intense cut for you? Obviously not as intense as lightweight, but how is it?
I don't know. I've never cut weight having like an injury like this, so I don't know yet. I just know that um, it's not going to be fun.
uh,
Like even
so,
cutting to 77, like I didn't cut any weight, and then the last week I just still had to cut water. It still wasn't fun, you know?
you've been posted. There's been like footage posted of you in the training room. You posted one somewhat recently, like within the week of you doing. I think it's kind of your last meat grinder session, or however you kind of refer to them. Uh, Shark Tank. Thank you. Um, how was that? You seem to be moving pretty well in that. You got through the session. You talk about how you got through the session in the post, even though you are dealing with this injury.
Mm.
How is training and how is literally being able to move around?
The injury came after those videos.
Of course.
Yeah. So I was fresh, man. I looked good. I was happy there. But yeah, unfortunately some shit happens. This is MMA, so you never know. We get put in all different kinds of positions, you know. But those sessions are we're training for 6 rounds, 6 5s, you know, and it's a new person every round on me. So it's almost like, you know, the intensity of the first 2 minutes of the opponent. That's what you get throughout the whole 6 rounds. And these aren't like regular like guys, like these are proper up and coming athletes from ATT, you know. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but I will lose any day to my brothers at ATT and happily win in the big stage, you know. So I don't really care.
Did the injury happen during training?
Yes.
I just didn't know if it
Actually,
was.
no, sorry. I think the injury happened uh in in my last fight, but it re-happened in training.
We talked about how quick that last fight was. Goes to
Yeah.
prove that even in a quick fight, things can still happen.
It was the very first kick I threw. If you look close into it, he checked. I'm revealing my fucking injury, but whatever. He ch- he checked, and I it doesn't look like it, but the angle of the kick, his knee whacked right into a muscle, and I think it tore something. But I'm stubborn, man. I'll keep kicking with like in my head. That was the most pain I felt in a while. Like that check. I was in, and I knew like Blood Diamond's the type of guy he'll feed off like a opponent that's like whittling away, and I knew that, so I was like, no, I'm gonna stay staunch and keep kicking with this leg, and I did that, you know, and eventually he was the one whittling away from the right hand, so it worked. But if you ask Emily, my partner, the night, like I was actually like in tears. The following night, I didn't get any sleep. I was in bed, and she was like running around like trying to figure out what to do. Turns out I fucking tore the whole thing off.
So you didn't get a chance to go out with Randall onto the mean streets of Auckland.
Nah, man, I don't do that stuff anyway. I don't like going out and clubbing. I'm claustrophobic in big spaces, you know. It's just he's different. He's a different breed, man. And uh, I was like, damn, like I feel like an angel next to this guy. I thought I was actually quite. Yeah, he's funny. I didn't think of that, but I just ate a burger and went to bed.
Dinner of champions.
I couldn't even walk, to be honest. I was limping, like I was trying to follow everyone. I'm like, man, I can't walk, hey. Like,
Um, and with this last question on the injury, with this, is there any worry, or I don't know, because this is a legitimate question. I don't know how it works. The commission, is everything okay? Is everyone signed off? Are you cleared to fight?
yeah. Well, I got cleared before the injury, so it is what it is, mate.
What the commission won't know won't hurt them.
Exactly. Don't worry about it, you know? Keep it on the down low. As long as everything's all good on their end with the weight and everything, everything's all good. I'm still showing up. Don't worry about me.
I just hope no one from the commission watches this interview.
Yeah, my opponent won't even understand what we're saying. So
I was actually going to say that. I was going to say there's probably a level of safety here.
Yeah.
Um, you are fighting Daichi Kamiya. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. Um, you talked about there not being, yeah, like a lot of footage of him. What you have seen, if you have seen anything, what do you kind of make of him?
He's a very aggressive ground like he's relentless with his takedowns and without revealing too much of what we know because we don't even know much. Like he shoots singles from very, very far away. So maybe in Japan you can get shit like that, but Australians, it's not that easy to shoot on an Australian because I don't know, the level of Australia is quite high, I believe, in MMA now. So yeah, it's I think he's gonna come into a weird realization like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought. He probably thinks he's gonna shoot on me and take me down and whatever, control me, but we'll see. Like I don't even know. Maybe he is good.
Uh, earlier in the interview, you said, this is your profession, but it's not the job. It's something that you love to do. And if it gets you to the UFC, then that's a bonus. Um, I don't mean to keep harping on about like fish gold, but I do think it was a very unique situation for yourself where you are the guy who's kind of fighting former UFC dudes and dudes who are on that level. Um, what do you, if you see yourself going to the UFC, what do you see your path being?
Look, I've I truly believe I have the highest, one of the highest striking levels in MMA in Australian MMA in my weight class. And I definitely think I'm pretty top tier even in UFC in regards to striking. So I've been working on my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu a lot actually to prevent takedowns and I'm always an exciting fighter if I like what Cody Haddon said actually in the Contender series. He's like, if I'm ever in a shit fight, you can cut me. Like I'm the same to be honest, but like I can't help people humping my leg and holding me down. That's the only two times I've lost. And the second time was a little bit controversial, but the first time was he couldn't handle the striking bang. But I didn't know any wrestling back then. So now like in the UFC all I'll be doing is probably defending takedowns and then icing people on the way in. That's how I imagine my way going in the UFC, and I'm keen to do that actually. That's what people want to see, right, Joel?
Of
No one wants
course.
humpers, leg humpers.
uh, what do you see the path for you to get there is?
Well, I don't know. I thought beating someone like Blood Diamond like that was enough to at least get a shot at Contender Series or something. But it's fine. Like I don't mind as well. Like I'll just keep going and fighting better guys. And even Daichi is 5-0, so he hasn't been beaten. I'm happy to hand him his first loss, and maybe that's enough. UFC is coming in February. But other than that, um, yeah, maybe I don't really know. Uh, who everyone that's on the local scene is getting signed. That's really good. Like Quillen, uh, Harry Webb's injured, so I can't even do nothing with that. Um, but yeah, I honestly don't know.
With this upcoming fight, do you have a prediction on how it gets down? You said you're going to hand him his first L. How do you see it happening?
I feel like he's gonna shoot from the very beginning to take me down, and he might get it, might not get it, but he's gonna realize that it's a lot harder than fighting these Japanese guys. Um, and when I get up, he's probably going to be exhausted from constantly shooting and whatnot. He's going to realize that he's in there with someone that's about to knock him out. And then, unfortunately, he probably will be knocked out for him, right? Unfortunately for him. But yeah, I think that's how the fight's going to go. go. I don't see it going any other way, to be honest.
That if that comes to be, the record would then stand at what, 8-1 with 7 finishes. Uh, you kind of mentioned like a Harry Webb there. Are you a guy who do you care about local titles? I feel like 8-1 with 7 finishes is pretty good to be like, I would like to fight for a belt now. Is that something that you really care for?
Not really. Like, what's a title? It's cool. It's a shiny little belt, but I don't really care. I've never really been offered titles or anything. But yeah, it doesn't fancy me, man. I'm not like that though. Like, I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I'm not striving to be eternal champion, hex champion. Whatever. If it gets offered, I'll take it. But yeah, I don't really care. Be a nice collection to it. I have like 4 belts already, so it'll be nice.
What are you striving to be?
Just better every day. It's me against me. Uh, uh whoever, that's why I don't really care about the opponent change. Like whatever opponent is in there, I'm still me against me. It's me battling myself to get up at 10 p.m. every night and train. Battling myself to get at 6 a.m. every night and train. 5 p.m. And train. Like I'm battling. Like what the fuck? The opponent does nothing. I'm battling myself to follow a system to get better and improve each day. So yeah, that's what it is. That's all I do. Like just it's honestly that's how everything is. You're battling yourself. The opponent is irrelevant.
Raymart, I thank you so much for the time. I've got two last ones that aren't exactly about the fight. Some of some other things that I've been seeing. Before we started, along with the coffee, you showed me you've got a Rubik's cube in front of you. Are you a big fan of Rubik's cubes? Why the Rubik's cube?
Uh, I don't know.
It's all
It's
messed up now. It was completed before.
I was playing with it while we were talking. I don't know. I do a lot of weird stuff like that. I do the Rubik's Cube. I juggle. Um, I just like doing things like that. That's a bit strange. Even coffee, like to the T, like knowing the exact measurement and science of coffee changes the variables of the taste. I enjoy shit like that. Um, with yeah, I'm a very strange person.
Where did the juggling come from?
I like doing things that people can't do. Like when you see someone juggling, it's like, wow, like people can't really do that. So I just learned how to juggle. Even pen flips, like flipping with flip pens with your finger, you know, like weird things like that. And these things take a lot of time to learn, but once you learn it, you can just always do it. Uh, and yeah, like that's why I learned how to do the Rubik's Cube. But the thing about the Rubik's Cube is it takes levels to shorten your time. Like, so you need to learn different algorithms and stuff like that. So it's almost like fighting. So these nerds that are scrawny, doing these Rubik's cubes in 5 seconds, man, they're far beyond George St. Pierre or something like that.
What's your quickest time on the Rubik's cube? Have you ever timed yourself?
Yeah, I can do around like 50 seconds, but
Damn.
um, that's not that fast to be honest. Even the next algorithms to learn the next step is like a whole nother ball game, man. It's like kind of messed up, and I don't think I have that time.
I won't put you on the spot and be like, do the Rubik's cube. But looking at it how it is right now, you've just been messing with it. Do you think you
Yeah,
could solve the one that you've got right now?
in a minute.
Or yeah, like could you go like
Yeah, but it's gonna take like a minute. Like, do you have that time on the podcast?
I've got time, bro. I just didn't want to make you go like do the Rubik's cube. If you want to do it, bro, do the Rubik's cube.
All right, wait. Let me take the blur off.
I was gonna say take the blur off so it's not like
All right, wait.
all right, here we
We
go.
can cut it anyway, right? We can slow it down.
Slow it down. We're gonna do it
Sorry,
so
sorry, we can speed it up so
we're
it's
gonna
not
do
like.
it so quickly that we need to slow it down to see all the moves.
All right, let's go. All right, I'm under pressure. Right, right, okay.
Yeah, actually. Oh, he's off.
I've never done the Rubik's Cube on a podcast before.
Uh-oh. Pressure's on.
Uh, uh, I, I'm
Hold it
shaking.
up. Hold it up higher. There we
Like,
go. Oh, oh, it's coming together.
can't lie, Joel. This is very nerve-wracking.
Is this more pressure than fighting?
A little bit, yeah. I don't shake like this when I'm fighting. Yeah. All right, we got the fish. Uh,
Oh, one side's done.
uh, boom.
Time. Beautiful.
Let's go.
That was so impressive.
Not just the MMA fighter, mate.
No, not at all. What did you say about the fish?
Oh, so there's little patterns that you have to find. There's
Mm.
fish, there's hammers, there's like angles.
There's like a flower, I think.
Fuck, I've never found the flower, but like once you find patterns like that, you have different algorithms, whatever, however you pronounce it,
Mm.
to attack that. So, and then you got to find the next pattern and stuff. It's really cool, honestly. But I don't know. It actually helps me tick my brain a bit. I'm gonna bring it to Perth.
Oh, perfect.
Are you gonna be at Perth?
Unfortunately not. I wish I could. Unfortunately not. I want to fly the next card in Sydney I want to come up for.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm on that card.
Well, hopefully you may be on the card the day after.
Yeah, that's the one I want to get on, but we'll see what happens.
Yes. Um, and now talking about much like I don't know, I feel like it's related. Talking about the Rubik's Cube. You also posted a video recently playing chess with I'm assuming I think a young man who was not following the rules of chess. Are you a big chess guy, and who were you playing against?
I'm a massive chess guy, and it's you know what it is, Joel. I procrastinate a lot, and I know a lot of people procrastinate as well. So I'll rather procrastinate on a Rubik's Cube or playing chess or juggling or like whatever, rather than scrolling and doom scrolling and just, worrying about other people's shit. Uh, so that's what I try and do. And it's because I run a business as well, it's very hard to you can't get stuck in shit like that because it's by the time you like everyone falls for it. It's not anyone's fault either. It's what Instagram and Facebook have literally been designed to do to get your attention and make you stick to their product, So you just I think the to get ahead you need to realize that and at least acknowledge it and try just being focused. But yeah, I do play chess a lot, but that's just a part of like the things I do. I'm not fucking grandmaster or anything, but like I'll beat anyone in the gym. I'm the best at the gym. My operations manager in Philippines thought he would have beaten me, and whooped his ass as well. So
That the kid you were playing against, he was doing some pretty high technique stuff though. Like you weren't ready.
I've never seen moves like that, Joel. I was like,
Yeah.
there's something I don't know in this game, but.
That's the difference between the grandmaster and everyone who isn't the grandmaster.
The child master.
Yeah, he moved the what was it? He like moved the pawn forward and then he just took one of your pieces.
Every move I made, it fucking ate my piece. So I just didn't know what was going on.
Bro,
Smoked me.
bro doesn't know. Bro doesn't know about the
I'll
depth
beat
of
him in a
chess.
fight though, so don't worry about that.
Maybe did you do that? You flipped the board?
No, he actually did. I trained after that and came back, and everything was all over the place. I was like, this kid does all that and doesn't even clean it.
Of course. Who was that?
One of the dads that come to the gym. He has two boys that do the kids jiu-jitsu, and that was the youngest boy. Yeah,
Very
he's
nice.
down and watches.
That's fair. And how did playing chess with him come up? Did he challenge you? Did you challenge him?
Oh, I rocked up to training early, and he was just there like playing chess. Like he knew how to set everything up. I was like, oh, damn, like he knows how to play chess. And then I sat next to him and I was like, let's play. And he goes, okay. And then yeah, little did I know he knew moves well above my skill set. So
Yeah. You fell for the trap.
I fell for it. I took the bait and I got smoked.
Raymart Quintana, I thank you so much for the time. It is always a pleasure to speak to you. Talking about training and such, what does the rest of today look like, and what does between now and the fight look like for yourself?
Well, look, training is just tapering down now. We're on the last week, so uh, the last couple of weeks have been super intense, like to the point where I was in bed, like fuck, like I need a break, eh? But I knew I just had to keep pushing. So yeah, I think we're tapering down a lot of like 10 p.m. work because we want to adjust to Perth time. Uh, and yeah, just getting the weight down so we can meet at the agreed weight and showing up, injured or not, and putting a show on for the crowd. That's all. Can't wait, actually. It's first time fighting on Eternal, so super excited.
Looking to make a good first impression.
Yes, just like the one in Auckland. Same, but different.
When will you fly out to Perth?
I don't know. I think Thursday.
Bro
Wayne.
doesn't know.
I don't know anything, man. I delegate that stuff out to whoever's handling it. All I know is someone needs to book it. So otherwise, they're losing a fight on that night. It is what it is. It's not my problem.
Raymart, thank you so much for the time. Best of luck in the fight. Safe travels there and safe travels back. Thank you so much for the time, my friend.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you, man.
Of
Appreciate it.
Same to you.